Chapter 5. The Merchant's Tale.
After the clerk finished, the merchant said,
I married my wife 2 weeks ago, and she's not an obedient Griselda. She's a very bad young woman. She's always angry with me, and she never stops talking. I'm tired of it. For me, all wives are only punishments for their husbands.
He said no more about his wife after that, but began his story.
January was a rich old knight. He lived in the town of Pavia, in the north of Italy. When he was younger, he had a good time. Now he was 60. He wanted to marry a woman from his hometown and have a son.
My wife can help me when I'm very old and ill, and my son can have my house and everything in it when I die,
he thought. In the end, January decided to marry a very young woman. Her name was May. Before the wedding, he asked his friends,
Is she right for me?
Most said,
She's perfect.
But his best friend, Justinius, said,
It isn't good for an old man to marry a young girl. You're going to have problems.
January didn't listen and married May. After the wedding dinner, he told his friends,
Go now. I want to be alone with my young wife.
They left at once, and January and May went to bed. Damien was a young servant in January's house. He fell in love with May when he first saw her. He soon became ill with this love, but told his secret to nobody.
What's the matter with Damien?
January said to May.
Wife, go and look after him.
So May went and sat by Damien's bed. Damien soon began to feel better. Once, when they were alone, he gave May a short letter. She read it.
May, I love you a lot. Your servant, Damien.
Then May looked up at Damien.
I love you too,
she said. Damien soon got out of bed after that. Some time later, January suddenly became blind. He was now very jealous of May.
Where are you? Stay next to me. Give me your hand,
he said.
You must look after me.
It wasn't easy for May. She wanted to be with Damien, but all the time her jealous old husband stopped her. One morning at breakfast, Damien quietly gave May a longer letter. January was there, but he couldn't see a thing. May said nothing, but she read Damien's letter at once. It said,
May, let's meet in the garden. I can go there before you climb up into the pear tree and wait for you. When you and January arrive, climb up into the tree and we can kiss there. Damien.
Shall we go for a walk in the garden?
May asked January after breakfast.
Yes,
He answered. He took May's hand blindly and walked with her into the garden. At the same time, in the country of the dead, the god Pluto, king of Hades, spoke to his wife, Queen Proserpina.
I'm angry with May.
Said Pluto.
She's not faithful to January. Poor blind January. I'm going to help him. He's going to see again. That's going to stop May.
I'm not sorry for January.
Said Proserpina.
He's a foolish old man. He married a young girl for her face and body and didn't see any problem in that. I'm going to help May. When January sees his young wife in the tree with Damien, she's going to be ready with a quick answer for her husband.
Back in Italy, May and January sat under the pear tree in the garden. Damien waited up in the tree.
Husband, are you hungry?
Asked May.
Yes,
Said January.
Would you like a nice pear from the tree?
Asked May.
yes.
So May climbed up into the tree. Quietly, Damien began kissing and hugging her. Just then, January could suddenly see again. He looked up and saw Damien and May.
What are you doing?
He said.
I can see you. You're hugging and kissing Damien.
Cried January angrily.
What are you talking about?
Said May.
Yesterday, an old woman told me, fight with a man in a pear tree, and your blind husband is going to see again. Damien fought with me in the tree because I asked him. And you can see again, so it worked. So don't be angry with me. Say thank you.
Perhaps you're right.
Said January.
I can see now, because you fought with Damien in the pear tree. Thank you, wife, for that.
May climbed quickly down from the tree. She smiled up at Damien, hugged January, and took her foolish old husband back into the house.